Hi, again welcome you on YouTube channel of Jamila Devi Institute of Pharmacy. Today we are going to discuss the structure activity relationship of catecholamine analogs as analgesic alpha and beta receptor agonist. So again we must know the core structure where we will do the modification, and that modification may change the agonist activity of the compound on alpha as well as beta receptor. So firstly, we take a look of basic scaffold. So here it is basic scaffold, which is known as phenyl ethyl amine, and this basic structure can be divided into a different segment like beta phenyl ethylamine. So if you look for that, it is the ethylamine area, and this ethylamine area is linked with the phenyl ring. Then this whole structure is called the phenyl ethylamine. Why we say it is beta phenyl ethylamine? Because if you look for the numbering of the carbon chain, then the carbon next to nitrogen is known as alpha carbon, and next to this carbon is called the beta carbon, and this beta carbon is connected with the phenyl ring, and that's why it is called beta phenyl ethyl amine. Now the second portion, which is made up of the catechol ring, and that is the phenyl ring which bearing two hydroxy moiety on the adjacent carbon. So such segment is called catechol ring. And the third part, which is the hydroxy group, which is located on the beta carbon. This core structure divided into three key part, but apart from that, there is on the amine area the nitrogen bearing two hydrogen in the amine, so that hydrogen can be replaced by means of the alkyl moiety. So in present core structure we only show the R1, but the possibility of replacement of this H is also there. But when we go for the modification on this H, then they dramatically change the activity. And again, if you look for the changes, that is on the alpha carbon. Here alpha carbon having a two hydrogen, so again we can go for change on that hydrogen by means of alkyl group, that is R2. So in this case there is the possibility of modification on this phenyl ring, and modification on this alkyl moiety, that is R1, then the modification on this R2, and again the presence or absence of this hydroxy group, and the chirality which present on alpha carbon as well as beta carbon. So generally on alpha carbon this chirality is generated when out of that two hydrogen of the methylene is replaced, one of them is replaced by means of alkyl group, then chirality is generated. But this beta carbon itself having a chirality because all the four valencies are fulfilled by means of different group or different moiety. So this chirality is also important for the activity of the phenylethylamine analogues. So we go to the next slide. The first possibility in the structure is optical isomerism due to the presence of chirality on the beta carbon. So here if you look for chirality, the two conditions are possible. The one is that it may have the R configurations, and the second one it have the S configuration, which is depend on the arrangement of group moiety or substitutions on clockwise and anti-clockwise direction on the chiral center. But out of these two configurations, the R configuration at this center is having a several fold potency as compared to the S substitutions and the S configurations on the beta carbon. So these S enantiomers are quite less potent as compared to the R enantiomer. So definitely those R configurations. Definitely the chirality at this center is favor for R configurations. Now we move to the another option, that is R1 substitutions on the amino group which is on the terminal of phenylethyl amine. So ultimately there is different possibilities are arises. One is that the terminal amino group may remain in the form of 1 degree or maybe in the form of 2 degree or maybe in the form of 3 degree and quaternary 1. So ultimately if we go for the substitutions of any one of the hydrogen, then the compound show good hydrogenic activity. But if we shifted towards the tertiary, means these hydrogens if we replace by means of bulkier group like methyl ethyl, or if we make a quaternary ammonium salt, in that conditions the compound so very poor activity or no activity. Apart from that, the R1 is also responsible for determining the selectivity of molecules towards the alpha or beta receptor, because this adrenergic receptors is mainly classified into two broad category. One is alpha adrenergic receptor, another is beta adrenergic receptor, and alpha adrenergic receptor is further subcategorized into alpha 1 and alpha 2, while if you look for the beta, it is mainly categorized into beta 1 and beta 2, but still the beta 3 receptor is also present. So ultimately this R modifications is responsible for defining the binding of the phenylethylamine towards the specific receptor. It may be alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1 or beta 2, or maybe non-selective in case of alpha, or non-selective in case of beta, or it is non-selective for alpha and beta both. So how this thing is happened? So we take the one by one different condition which arises. So generally, if we increase the size of R1, means methyl hydrogen, then methyl, then ethyl, then isopropyl or propyl, then the tertiary butyl, then the nature is changes. So if having a size like the tertiary butyl or isopropyl, then compound having a more beta selective activity as compared to the alpha. But if it is a smaller one, then it might have the alpha selectivity. Or it if we change this with tertiary butyl type of group, then definitely in case of beta there is beta 1 and beta 2, but if it is tertiary butyl, then the compound is showing predominantly beta 2 agonist activity. And again there is something is happened. If we further go beyond that, if we take larger lipophilic group, then the compound is giving the alpha 1 blocking activity as well as beta non-selective blocking activity. So we take them. These are the that norepinephrine, in which the R group is hydrogen, so they are having a selectivity towards the alpha as compared to beta, and definitely it is alpha agonist or alpha selective agonist. But if we change this hydrogen by means of methyl, that is converted into epinephrine, and this epinephrine is alpha as well as beta 1 and beta 2 agonist. Means ultimately here we get non-selective. They are unable to differentiate in between the alpha and beta receptor. But if we further increase the size of this group, like change the methyl by means of isopropyl, then the resultant compound is isoproterenol, and which is having a much selectivity towards the beta. But again in that condition, beta having a beta 1 as well as beta 2. So they are non-selective for beta agonists, so they can bind or they can show the agonist activity on beta 1 as well as beta 2. But again if we change this isopropyl moiety with tertiary butyl 1, then now it is converted into colesterol, and this compound is quite selective towards the beta 2. So once we increase the size of substitutions up to a certain specific limit, then the selectivity pattern is changed. Previously it is having a, if it is the smallest one, then it is alpha, then we move towards the tertiary butyl, then it is beta 2 selective. Then the examples of that beta 2 selective we already told, that is colesterol, and this is the structure. You look, this R is tertiary butyl, and rest of the compound, rest of the portion is similar as the epinephrine or norepinephrine type of things. Only the change is occur here on the terminal portion of the phenylethyl amine, where one hydrogen is replaced by means of tertiary butyl group, and this tertiary butyl group giving the beta 2 selectivity to the molecule. Then again I told, if we further increase the size of substitutions, then dramatically change in the binding pattern is occur. So previously the compound show the agonist activity, but actually bigger group is responsible for the blocking of the adrenergic receptor activity. So here it just block the activity, and in that condition it is block both alpha 1 as well as beta non-selective type of activity, that is labetalol, which is non-selective adrenergic blocker. Now the another thing, which is the R2 substitutions, which is located on the alpha carbon, and again these R2 substitutions are responsible for the alpha as well as beta selectivity of the compound. So generally this R2 substitution is occur in the form of methyl or ethyl group, but if we go beyond that, then they are not tolerated by the phenylethylamine analogs. So here if we do the changes in that conditions, the most important thing is that how this methyl group or ethyl group change the selectivity. So if it is methyl, then they are responsible for alpha 2 selectivity, but if it is changed to ethyl, in that conditions it is much more beta selective as compared to alpha selectivity. As well as these substitutions also somehow alter the modifications of this position is may be responsible for alterations in the metabolism of the compounds. So ultimately, if we go for small group changes, then the degradation of this compound by monoamino oxidase is decreases. But the another way of metabolism is the catecholamine O methyl transferase, that is remain there. Take the different examples of that. The substitutions by small alkyl group, slow metabolism by monoamino oxidase with little effect on the duration of actions, because the metabolism is occurred by two paths. One is the MAO, another is the COMPT, that is bound. So ultimately MAO is slow down, but COMT is not much affected, so duration of action is not affected so much. It may be changed little bit. Again, these changes may responsible for incorporation of the lipophilic character in the molecule, and due to that the compound are able to reach into the CNS, and they are showing CNS activity as compared to the unsubstituted derivative. As well as it is also improve the oral effectiveness or viability of the compound. Generally, ethyl group in this position diminishes the alpha activity while it favor for the beta activity. So the example, if we take the example, that is the structure of ethyl norepinephrine, and this ethyl norepinephrine is having a somehow more beta selectivity as compared to the norepinephrine or methyl norepinephrine. So you look, that is ethyl norepinephrine, which is beta selective agonist, and if we change here the 1/2 hydrogen by means of isopropyl group, then this beta selectivity is converted into beta 2 selective agonist, because this bulkier group always favor for the beta 2 selectivity. Then the substitutions which occur on the R2 positions in the form of a small methyl group, then there is again chirality is generated, and this alpha methyl norepinephrine, their erythroform, that is 1R2S isomer, that possesses significant activity at alpha 2 receptor, or it is alpha 2 selective agonist. So ultimately on this alpha carbon there is the possibility of small substitutions is there, and out of that methyl is favor for the alpha selectivity while the ethyl is favor for the beta selectivity. Then we look for the hydroxy group. Again, this beta carbon with respect to the amino acids which is present here, we started from the synthesis. If you look at, then we go for the decarboxylation. So ultimately it is somehow phenyl ethylamine is come in the picture. So this hydroxy group is attached to the beta carbon, and this beta carbon is having a chirality. So ultimately 1R configuration is favor for the activity over a 1S configuration, and this hydroxy group is essential for the activity. They may undergo for participation in hydrogen bond with the hydrogen receptors, and ultimately this hydroxy group is also responsible for decreasing the CNS activity, because it decreases the lipidic character of these molecules. And if we remove this hydroxy group, then the compound is converted into dopamines, and dopamine is deviated greatly or reduce their activity for adrenergic receptors. Then there is the fifth position where we do the different modifications, and again here these modifications may be responsible for the selectivity towards the alpha receptor or towards the beta receptor. Apart from that, this hydroxy group, if change their positions, then the compounds may change in terms of direct acting to indirect acting. So we take the one by one different condition which rises when we change the things. The one thing is that if we replace this catecholamine moiety by means of resolcinol, means in catecholamine, in catechol the two hydroxy groups are present on the adjacent carbon, but if we change this catechol ring to the naphthalene ring, in which to the resolcinol ring, in which the hydroxy group on the one and 3 positions, then the compound is showing selectivity towards the beta 2 receptor, means that isoproterenol is transferred to metaproterenol, then it is having a much more beta 2 selectivity, and it will also affect the duration of action, because this catechol is undergo for metabolism by means of the COMT, that is catecholamine O-methyl transferase. But this resorcinol ring cannot participate in the metabolism by COMT. So ultimately it show longer duration of action over their counterpart, that is the catechol containing systems. Replacement of the meta hydroxy of the catechol structure with the hydroxy methyl groups, again responsible for beta 2 selectivity. And similarly, if we remove the para hydroxy group from the epinephrine, it gives the new compound that is called phenylephrine with lack of beta action, but it is showing alpha 1 agonist property. So this thing says that the fourth position, that is para hydroxy group, is basically responsible for beta selectivity, while the meta hydroxy group is responsible for alpha selectivity. Then the removal of both of the hydroxy group from the catechol, it converted into phenyl ring. So in that case, loss of direct sympathomimetic activity take place, and the compound is having sympathomimetic activity, but that is indirect sympathomimetic activity. And this compound is also not metabolized by COMT, so it having a longer duration of actions. And the example of this modification is amphetamines, and this amphetamine is indirectly sympathomimetic agent, which may show their action by means of just enhance the release of norepinephrine, as well as they may interfere with the reuptake of the epinephrine or norepinephrine, as well as on a higher concentration they inhibit the monoamino oxidase enzymes. So by virtue of that, they may produce the sympathomimetic activity. And this is the summary what I had discussed in the previous slide. So there are the key areas where we can go for modification. This is the hydroxy group on the phenyl ring of phenylethylamine, where we go for the modification, and activity is changed in this fashions, which we already discussed. The another thing, the change on the beta position, where this hydroxy group can be removed. So in that conditions, the activity decreases or activity is subsides, as well as there is a chirality. So we also look for that chirality. It must be the R configuration for optimum activity, although S showing the activity, but it is much less active. Then another changes which occur on the alpha carbon, that is R2. So this having a different type of substitutions, especially the methyl and ethyl. So methyl is favored for the alpha agonist activity, while ethyl is favored for the beta agonist activity. Similarly, we can go for the changes on this R1 group, and again this nitrogen may be 1 degree or 2 degree for the good energetic activity, and the selectivity is come from the size of R1 group. Friends, thanks.